On this video, I would like to continue the harmony of the Gospels that I've been working through, and I've worked my way up to the Magi and their visit of Jesus, the newborn King. And so we pick it up in Matthew chapter 2, 1 to 12. Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, wise men, or the Magi, came from the east, and came to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and we have come to worship him. It may be that the suggestion of the star to the Magi might have come out of Numbers chapter 24, verse 17, a prophecy from Peor by Balaam, where it read, I see him, but not now. I behold him, but not near. A star shall come forth from Jacob, and a scepter shall rise from Israel. It may be that reference that attracted the Magi to make the journey to find the Lord, the newborn Lord Jesus Christ. When Herod the king heard it, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And gathering together all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired from them or of them where the Christ should be born. And they said unto him, In Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written in the prophet, And you, Bethlehem, land of Judah, are no wise least among the princes of Judah. For out of you will come forth a governor, which shall shepherd, or who shall shepherd, my people Israel. This is a quote, a reference to Micah 5, verses 1 and 2, where there is the reference of Jesus Christ coming out of Bethlehem. And so that text was quoted by the scholars, those in Judea, and notice, though, they didn't make any effort to go and find him. But Herod privately called the wise men, or the Magi, and learned of them carefully what time the star appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem and said, Go search out carefully for the young child, and when you have found him, bring word, so I also may come and worship him. Of course, Herod had no desire of worshiping him. He wanted to destroy any competition to his rule and to his kingship. And so we're told, And they then, having heard the king, went their way, and behold, the star which they saw in the east went before them, till it came and stood over the place where the child was. I am thinking that it wasn't necessarily a literal star, but perhaps the glory of God that appeared to Abraham and led him out of Ur of the Chaldees, because the star seems to appear and then disappear, which seems to make more sense in my understanding. That it looks at the glory of God, which is as a star, a light directing them. And it stood over the house where Jesus was. When they saw the star, they then rejoiced with exceeding joy. And they came into the house and saw the young child with Mary his mother. And they fell down and worshipped him. And opening their treasures, they offered him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh. Notice they want to come and worship him. These are Gentiles. And Matthew presents this account of the Gentiles seeing Jesus, where in Luke it's the shepherds that see him first. So Matthew certainly is driving home the point that he is a Messiah for Gentiles as well as for Israel. So we're told, and being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. After this, Jesus then is carried to Egypt, and the children at Bethlehem are slain by Herod. Notice it says in Matthew 2:13-18. Now when they were departed, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be there until I tell you, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. And so he arose and took the young child by night, and departed into Egypt, and was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the Lord through the prophet, saying, Out of Egypt have I called my son. This is a quote from Hosea 11:1, and Jesus typically is fulfilling that. As Israel was called out of Egypt, so Jesus was called out of Egypt. And I think Matthew is looking at the typical fulfillment of that text of Hosea 11:1 as the final Israel, so to speak. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceedingly angry, and sent forth and slew all the male children that were in Bethlehem, and in all the borders thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had carefully learned of the wise men, or the Magi. Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, A voice was heard in Ramah, weeping and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children, and she would not be comforted because they are not. This is a quote from Jeremiah 31, verse 15. Rachel was weeping at the Babylonian captivity, and now Matthew is saying Rachel is weeping again at what is happening with the children and the horrible violence of Herod to the children in around Bethlehem. So then we move on, and the child, Jesus, is now brought from Egypt unto Nazareth. After this horrible violence by Herod, now Jesus is brought from Egypt, having been there to be protected, back to Nazareth. It's interesting that Moses was out of Egypt during the time of some of the persecution happening back in his day. So Jesus is out of, so to speak, out of what was happening, thank God, protected, and he now is going to be brought back from Egypt, perhaps depicting the final Moses. So it reads, And when Herod was dead, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, Arise, and take the young child and his mother, and go into the land of Egypt, for they are dead that sought the young child's life. So he arose and took the young child and his mother, and came into the land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus was reigning over Judea, in the place of his father Herod, he was afraid to go there. And being warned of God in a dream, he withdrew into the parts of Galilee, and came and dwelt in the city of Nazareth, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophets, that he shall be called a Nazarene. When we look at Luke 2:39, in the parallel reading, it reads, "And when they had accomplished these things that were according to the law of the Lord, they returned into Galilee to their own city, Nazareth." I think it's interesting. The word netzer in Hebrew refers to branch. And it's interesting here, that's in Isaiah 11:1. A netzer would spring forth from Jesse. And I think what we're learning here is that Jesus was taken now to Nazareth. And isn't it interesting that the Nazarene is from Netzer? It's sort of like the branch is from Branchtown. I think that's the thought going back to the Hebrew Netzer of Isaiah chapter 11. So Jesus is the final Netzer, the final branch, the final Messiah who has come. And it's like, look at the Netzer, who is the Nazarene, or from Nazarios, and he is the fulfilling the branch prophecy. It's almost like Matthew is saying, the branch now comes from Branchtown. I'm going to stop there and continue next time on the childhood of Jesus.
I think